Hello, my name is Dr. Deanna Minich, and in this segment, I'm going to be talking about the Insite system of health, which in the 7 systems of health corresponds to the indigo color. So when we talk about body systems, we talk about the neurotransmitters, the brain, the neurons, our sense of mood, and thought processing. So what I hope to do in this segment is to talk about different nutrients and actives to help with cognition, mood, memory. So here are some of the, if I think of the insight in the brain and really focused on sleep. Sleep is an activity of the brain. Even though we feel like we're not doing much, we actually are really accomplishing a lot during our sleeping hours. We're creating more detoxification, we're allowing the brain to relax and unwind and process. And so I think that in the 21st century, sleep medicine has become such a big aspect of lifestyle medicine. So how do we enable patients to sleep better? So this is where we can look at different nutrients for sleep. So things to help us relax, like hops or lemon balm, or some people like to use melatonin to help with regulation of the diurnal rhythm, or passion flower. One of my personal favorites is L-theanine, which we typically find in green tea. But what I like about L-theanine is that it creates this sense of restful alertness. It kind of winds us down, but doesn't make us sleepy or groggy. So we can always bring in other things if we choose to have a little bit more of that drowsiness. 5-hydroxytryptophan, for example, converts to serotonin. Serotonin gives us that sense of being happy and can help with sleep as well. And of course, one of the standards for sleep, I think, is getting the body to relax. When we enable the body to relax through the muscles, then it's almost like the mind can relax. So having magnesium in a variety of different forms, I think, can be really important for enabling the body to sleep better. Now, since we're talking about the brain, I'm also including the eyes because that's really part of the brain. It's very close. We have the optic nerve. We have the sense of vision. So as part of that, we talk about eye support. How can we help our sense of vision? And so if you look at many of the studies, what we see is that many of the antioxidants have been useful for preserving the lens of the eye, preventing things like cataract. So some general nutrients and plant actives to help support eyes would be bilberry fruit extract, which coincidentally tends to be more blue-purple in color. So we get that high concentration of pro-anthocyanins, which are protective for the eye, as well as lutein and zeaxanthin. And you most likely have heard me talk about lutein and zeaxanthin before. And lutein and zeaxanthin come together in the back of the eye in the region called the macula. And when we have a concentration of lutein and zeaxanthin there, it helps to reduce the risk of cataracts and also age-related macular degeneration. And it's simply with about 6 milligrams of lutein per day. And that could come through the diet. And if people are eating a lot of plant foods, that could work. But if they're not eating a lot of plant foods, then they need to probably take a supplement with somewhere in the range of 6 to 20 milligrams of lutein per day. And to be sure that that lutein is accompanied by its other carotenoid, zeaxanthin. Here's another study. This is not about eye health, but showing the benefit of lutein supplementation for skin health. So this is a study in which they had women on a supplement containing 6 milligrams of lutein and just 0.18 milligrams of zeaxanthin. They took it for 8 weeks, and what they showed was that the lipid peroxidation in the skin had decreased just within 2 weeks, and that the skin was more hydrated and moist. So indeed, these carotenoids that I've been talking about are so important for the skin and the brain. In fact, lutein levels, looking at carotenoid levels, have been connected to cognition, how we think. So when we look at blue-purple foods, they are filled with a number of different pigments that have activity in our bodies, one of which is anthocyanins. Anthocyanins are found in berries primarily, things like blueberries and blackberries, or even grape skins or currants or elderberries. And what we see the anthocyanins doing is that they help with reducing the risk of cancer. They're very potent antioxidants. They help with reducing memory loss and also the risk of dementia. And then the phenolics, helping to really have the additional protection from a lot of these phenolic acids that we find in these purple foods. Now, within blue-purple foods, many times we find what's called flavonoids, a whole class of compounds called flavonoids. These flavonoids are important for cultivating a better mood, less anxiety. So these flavonoids bind to certain parts of the brain that help us to relax. So you find these throughout nature in different foods, like green tea, even things that aren't blue-purple. So they create that anti-anxiety effect. We can also take supplements that have specific flavonoids to create that reduction in anxiety. There are some really nice studies on blueberries in the brain. So if we look at some of the cell and animal studies, what we see is that berry fruits, primarily the skin of the berry, helps to mediate pathways involved in inflammation in the brain. So it helps to produce more of BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which helps in neuron growth. This is important because the brain is not a static organ. It's constantly regenerating and growing and remaining what I would call plastic. Plastic in a good sense. It's flexible, it's moving, it's flowing. We're not getting stuck. And BDNF helps with neuroplasticity. Berries help to increase that neuroplasticity. So whenever I talk with people who are really concerned about their mind and their mental sharpness or cognition, I always say, just make sure that you're getting enough of your blue-purple compounds from all these different colorful foods. A single portion of blueberry helped to provide protection against DNA damage. Just one portion of blueberries. This is again showing the power of food, how we could just have one serving of berries and see the results immediately after consuming the blueberries, just within a couple of hours. So when we look at berries and all of their different phytonutrients, we see lots of different activities. They're anti-cancer, they help with reducing DNA damage, they help with neuronal growth and signaling, so even signaling within the cell itself. And so, you know, there's so much probably we don't know about blueberry, but I think having the whole food powder, even in supplemental form, would be a wonderful addition to the daily diet if we can't get enough of these berries just even fresh. So here too is some more work showing that blueberry supplementation helps with memory improvements in the area of the hippocampus. Now this was done in animals, and what they found was that feeding these animals blueberry in their daily diet helped them to learn faster and also helped to increase the BDNF in their brain. Another blue-purple compound that many people think of is resveratrol. Resveratrol is found in the purple skins of grapes. And so I think what's happened now supplementally is that we tend to see resveratrol being tested for many different things. I think of it as helping with the processes related to aging. It can help with DNA damage. It can help with cellular signaling. And you find a lot of different supplements with resveratrol, which I think is good. I also think we have to look broader at the process of the brain and aging. Resveratrol is just one of the many different phytonutrients that we might find in the grape skin or in red wine. So it's just a little bit more on resveratrol. It's one of the most important natural stilbenoids. This is a class of phytonutrients. It helps with the flow of neurotransmitters in the brain. So this is the brain connection specifically. And even though we know these things, we still need to really see them in clinical trials. We've seen a lot in the way of animal studies and cell studies, and now I think we're ready to look a little bit more at resveratrol's effects in people and the effect on mood and cognition. So what I like to do is stop there and do a quick recap of the Insite system, which again correlates to the indigo. Again, we're focused on brain, neuron health, eye health, looking at sleep, and enabling those different processes in the body to be more effective through agents that help with sleep and also help with focus and cognition and memory. And it's quite amazing if you think about it that just by bringing in more blue-purple that we could facilitate that in the body. Thank you.